We want to use this opportunity to complete the last two topics that we have. First, we want to look at performance management. What is performance management? We have indicated that every organization has a strategic objective or strategic objectives, and they employ people to help them achieve these strategic objectives. Apart from this, they have their plans, their actions, their activities that must take place before these objectives are achieved. And so they need to monitor to ensure that people are doing what is expected of them. And so once you acquire human resource, we want them to work to contribute to the achievement of the objectives that we have set for ourselves. And so as managers, we need to know whether your employees are performing the jobs effectively and efficiently, and whether there's a need for improvement or not. Because if you don't do this, then human being has a tendency to move away from what is normal. If you don't put in place some mechanisms to check whether what you expect from them is what they are doing and they are doing according to plan. Even though we need, when we talk about the fact that there's a need for autonomy, that autonomy must be exercised within a certain framework. And so, as management, we need to ensure that people are within that framework and they don't go off tangent. And so, the contribution must be assessed to determine how far it is going, whether it's on the right track or it has veered off the normal way. And that is why we need to have performance management. And so when there's a performance management, the system put in place to enable employees' performance, as we have said already, to ensure that they are what we want them to put up. And so it's a means that managers use to make sure that employees' activities, their output, support or help the organization to achieve that desired goals. And so, first, to be able to successfully do this, you need to have what performance is desired or is desirable. What do you expect from them? You must have an expectation of them. In other words, a performance standard that you need to have for them so that once you are you start, you'll be able to have a criteria and a standard to measure. And then, so by that, then measure the actual performance and give feedback depending on what. But the feedback is military, whether the person is doing well or not doing well, or the person is average. And that will help you to determine the next action that you need to take. And it's a process because it starts from, let's say, the very day the person starts work, and it doesn't end. So perhaps the day has ended or the organization has gone back to assess itself and have realized that we have achieved our goals or we didn't achieve our goals. Armstrong and Brown has a nice definition, but I won't bother myself with the definition because I've told you several times that when it comes to definitions, I don't like them. And so, while there's a performance management system, it must be linked to the strategic aims of the organization. Why? Because if the system put in place to assess performance is not linked to the strategic objective, what then are you going to assess? We have said that everything that must be done to ensure that the strategic objectives are achieved. And therefore, whatever measurement is put in place, whatever mechanism is put in place must be And what are the characteristics? Pressure is a shared process between management and individuals and the teams they manage. This means that even though it is management driven, management cannot sit there alone and decide on what how and what it should be done. It should be an agreement between managers and then the employees so that people will accept the process. Because if it is imposed on them, it is likely to engender conflict between management and employees. Even though it is management driven, because management has the objective of achieving the strategic objective. And so they initiate it. But the process must be shared between managers and the employees. And it's built on consensus and contract, not by command. In this modern age, managers should not try to impose his or her will on the people. But the employees are key stakeholders in the organization. And so you sit down with them, you decide on how things must be done, what must be done, and therefore it's an agreed principle, it's an agreement that is signed between the employees and managers, so that the employees will own what they have agreed to work with. And so that was said it is a means.
So, as I was saying, it's a shared process between management and individuals and teams they manage, which means that it's not done only by management. Whatever is done, the process, the mechanisms, the instruments to be used even to assess the performance must be agreed upon between management and the employees. In that case, it doesn't create any problem for anybody, and the employees owe whatever mechanism is put in place. They accept them, and once they accept them, they are prepared to work with them. Even though it is driven by management, it is not owned by management alone. It is owned by management and the employees. That is why we say it's based on contract, not by command. Because you present this to me, you present your opinion, your side of the story to me, and then I come in, we negotiate, and we come to agree on what we think we are capable of doing. It's like management by objectives, where employees and management together sit down to determine the objectives and then how to achieve those objectives. And that is why we said that this means it's about an agreement of objectives. That is what is to be achieved, the type of knowledge needed to achieve those things, the scale, the competence, and then the requirements. As we said, we have done this before, the KSAOs that are needed to develop. So management must provide these resources, and then the employee will then come in to also help management to achieve the results. And that's why I said it is best performed against jointly agreed goals, which have been explained earlier. The goals to be achieved are agreed upon by management and the employees, and therefore each of them knows what he or she is supposed to bring on board. So he said it requires a management style that is open and honest and encourages a two-way communication. We have said that when it comes to management, there's a need for transparency. Management shouldn't hide anything from the employees, because you are going to use them to achieve that objective. And therefore, if you want to use them, you must be open, you must be sincere. Remember when we were doing commitment, we said that what engenders commitment is about openness, honesty, and then trying to let the employees know what is happening in the organizations. And so when it is done, it helps to clarify the corporate good, the goals that the organization has set to be achieved, because the employees come to be aware. They sit down with management, they come to be aware, and therefore they know what they have to do and what management needs to do. Then there's a need for continuous feedback. Performance management, we have said, is a process. And so at every moment, there's a need for constant check. Not check as in trying to supervise and breathing or compelling them to do certain things, but a person submits the report either weekly, daily, or whatever. And then as management will sit down with the employee to determine whether the employee is doing the right thing or the wrong thing. You don't wait for the entire thing to be done before you come in and say, you should have done it this way. No. Once the process, you sit with the employee, we sit with the individual, the employee, then you all decide on how the person did what he was supposed to do, what the challenges were, and then the way forward. And so once this is done, everybody is clear in his or her mind what the expectations are, what is supposed to do. And so once these things are done, and sometimes it might be that the objective might be too difficult, and we have said that when it is too difficult, it creates frustration. And so it can help to modify the objectives to suit the environmental circumstances. And what this is done, everybody is happy. And again, it enables employees to manage themselves and their performance. Because these are the goals that have been achieved. You have been given the freedom to do it, the autonomy to do it, even though there's a form of some monitoring, there's a form of coaching. And so you manage your performance, and then you work within the acceptable limits that is supposed to that have been given to you. You don't go outside. You know what you're supposed to do, and nobody tells you what you're supposed to do at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. What are the concerns over here? It is concerned with performance improvement. It is not about victimization. It's about improving performance of the individual and at the organizational level. So because when we have done the performance management and done it properly, feedback that is given will let you know whether you are doing the right thing or you are doing the wrong thing. And then modifications can be made. And once modifications are made, the person is able to improve the performance. Because feedback, when it is given properly, motivates employees. It clarifies roles. And so when these things are done, the employee is in a better position to do well. And when the employee performance goes up, it means that ultimately the organizational performance is also going to go up. And so another one is that it concerns employee development. When you have an expected performance, and so when when the person is assessed, and it is seen that the employee is consistently underperforming, depending on the level of underperformance, the employee can be developed or can even be given the matching of others. Because if the employee consistently falls below expectation, then there's something wrong with the employee. Then development or training can be recommended. And where training is recommended, invariably the employee is being developed. And then he said it seeks to satisfy the needs of stakeholders. Because once performance is enhanced and organization is able to achieve its objectives, the stakeholders, customers, shareholders, management, employees all achieve their needs, and everybody is happy in the organization. Again, it is concerned with communication and involvement. What is involvement over here? Employees sit down to determine the process, the goals, and what is supposed to be achieved. And then management is supposed to communicate feedback to employees, and employees are supposed to communicate performance to management. And so there's a two-way communication here. And it engenders involvement. And when there's involvement, there is commitment. And when there is commitment, performance ultimately goes up. Once we do performance management, there are three basic things that the information obtained from a good performance management can be used for. We can use it for administrative purposes, strategic purposes, and developmental purposes. What are the administrative purposes? It provides information for many decisions, including granting pay rise. The person perhaps has done extremely well, and so you want to promote the person, you want to give a person pay rise, you want to give bonus or whatever. You can also enable to determine whether the person must be retained or that employee must be dismissed from the organization, depending on the level of performance. Apart from that, we are able to recognize superior performance, those who are doing well, and they are given extra bonus as a means of encouraging other people also to do well. And so, once you do performance management, it enables the administration to make a lot of decisions. You do the same thing for us. You assess us every semester. And the university can decide to terminate my appointment based on my performance, or they can even determine that your teaching is good. And that one is factored into my promotion if I put in application for promotion. And when it comes, it goes with increased salary, and then a lot of things are added onto it. Then the strategic function also includes, it says, it provides opportunity to align HR practices to current and future performance. The HR has several practices. We have compensation, we have recruitment and selection. All these things are done by the human resource management. And so when we have done performance management, it can be used, as we have said already, to dismiss some people, bring in more people, organize training for people, increase people's salaries and reward them, and any other thing that is relevant to ensure that employees are properly catered for. Then it says it seeks to identify whether employees' activities are in line with the achievement of the goals. We have said that we are following part A. Everybody must follow part A. And so if employees divert or deviate from part A and begin to move on part B, say, no. Because these are the standards that we have set for ourselves. Let's move along this line, and we are sure to achieve our objectives. That says, it can be used to achieve if the system is. To ensure that employees' activities are in line with organizational goals, it means that the system must be flexible. The performance management system must be flexible. What does it mean over here? That's why I said it needs to be, it's an agreement between management and employees. And it must be done to suit the conditions within the environment. And if it is done that way, it is easily modified to suit the changing needs of the organization. Remember, we have said the business environment is always changing. And therefore, a system that seeks to ensure improvement in performance of the organization must be flexible in such a way that anytime there's a need to up it or downgrade it, we can do it, and then we will fit well into the environment. Then the flexibility enables the system to keep pace with the changing goals and nature of the organization. Then the third one is the developmental purpose, where we are able to identify whether staff are performing well or they are not performing well, and how they can be improved. We have said that, that's why I said when we were doing training and development that we should have done this course before training and development. And so when we have done the performance management, we know who is doing what. And therefore, we are able to determine which of the staff is performing well and who is not performing well. And then we recommend training for the people, for the person concerned. Or we say that we cannot no longer work with you. Find a way out. Again, it determines the strengths and weaknesses, causes and ways to correct problems and build on strength. You will sit down with the employee in the feedback process. You will sit down with the employee and allow the employee to determine or to narrate the challenges that that confronted him in the course of attempting to achieve his or her goals. And once the employee comes out with this as a manager, because of the technical know-how, you are able to determine what the challenges are in the organization, whether it is the system that is giving problems, or whether it is the goals that were too much for the employee to achieve. And so once the person comes clear with the challenges, once the person comes clear with what is happening, not only the challenges, but the person can also even tell you that the system is adequate, the system is good, and therefore we need to maintain it. And if there's weaknesses, we need to improve it. And so once we do this and we recommend training and we're able to strengthen our strength and then improve on our weaknesses, we become more effective. And when we are effective, the benefit goes to the organization. Now we have some performance management methods. Comparative performance measures, measurement of attributes, measurement of behavior, measurement of results, total quality approach, and then a 360-degree feedback or multi-rita assessment. let's see if we can go through them one by one briefly. In the comparative performance, we compare individuals. And so we have, let's say we have A and B. We assess them, we compare them, and we see who is doing better. So that's what I said. It compares an individual's performance with that of others. And it involves ranking the employee in a group or company or pairs of employees. And so that once we do, like we do in exams, we assess your performance, and then we rank you. So we said these people have first class, second class upper, second class lower, and then third class. And so then we are able to differentiate who deserves what. That is why, as I will tell you, during graduation, what happens is that those who had first class, the vice chancellor, the registrar, the chairman of council, and then the big man up there will stand up and then welcome those people with first class. The measurement of attributes. It's assumed that it specifies the extent to which employees have desired characteristics or traits. Which this means that for this particular method, it assumes that there are certain things there are certain traits that employee must possess before he or she can perform the job and do it very well. That's why I said the rating might be based on dependability, initiative, and knowledge of the job on the scale. That is, what is the knowledge level of the person on the job he or she is performing? Is the person, can we depend on the person? Let's say if we allow the person autonomy, can we trust that the person can perform the job? And so we rank. And again, like you do for us when you are assessing us. And so you rank us. Knowledge of the course that I'm teaching. When I come to the classroom, what do I do? And then are you able to approach me? We'll go to another measurement of behavior. And you will see that once you rate, then the person we're able to determine whether the person has the requisite skill, the requisite trait to perform that particular job. And especially when it comes to somebody who is more related to customers. When it happens that way, we're able to determine the person's level of knowledge, and then we help the person to overcome the challenges if there are any. And I say it's easy to develop and can be applied to a wide range of jobs. It is the most popular method now in use. As I said, what the university uses is an example of this. But it's a combination of this and then measurement of behavior. However, there's an element of subjectivity. How do you know that I'm innovative, I have knowledge in this? So you students, as you sit here, or you students determine whether I have knowledge in the course that I'm teaching. You can depend on me to acquire knowledge. I'm innovative in the classroom, or I try to bring out things from outside to enable to understand the course better. It is you who determine. So it's subjective. It's subjective, and therefore it becomes a problem. But there's no other better means than this. As you said, it is the most common method used now. It is difficult to measure traits relevant to successful job performance. If I am innovative, is it relevant to the job that I'm performing? And so it becomes difficult. Yes, every job might have its own traits. For example, a job that requires strength. Is the person strong? Has the person got that ability? But in a variety of jobs, it becomes difficult, especially in the same job where different people are performing different jobs. How do you use this measure to assess them? It becomes another problem. Then we have measurement of behavior. So it defines what kinds of behavior are desirable if the person must be able to perform the work and perform it very well. So the rater determines the extent to which an employee exhibits those behavior. And especially, one question that I like the way he handles himself at meetings. I like the way he starts the lecture. I like the way he introduces himself. I like the way he distributes questions in the classroom. And so these are all part of what you do when you are assessing us. Again, there's element of subjectivity. So most statements describe interpersonal skills and skills related to a particular job. That is why I'm saying that in the classroom, in the teaching profession, if I come in, my initial comments, How do I bring your minds to the classroom? These are all part of the way that you can assess us. Am I able to complete my course outline? And so it is you who must assess, and then you let the authorities know whether I'm capable or not capable. And then says it can be linked to strategy, because you know the behaviors that are relevant for it to achieve a particular goal. And so once that these things are done, once you know the goal, it becomes easier for you to determine the behavior that must be put up. And especially when you are writing a job requirement or job description, you bring out behaviors that you think the person must possess if the person must be able to perform the job very well. And even when it comes to the attributes, in some job descriptions, you also see that the kind of traits that the person needs to exhibit or to possess, especially the person's ability to be, the person's confidence level, the person's stress, how the person is able to stand, the person's emotional level. All these things can help. And these are traits that people possess. These are attributes that people possess. And when it is they have the right behavior, it means they can achieve the job and the results that they expect to achieve. So however, it has shown that there is no best way of doing things than those preparing the criteria to know the best. And that what we are saying here is that because I have listed, the university has brought out the list that is they expect that if I come to the classroom, I must be able to exhibit all these. And even some of you are even doing longer essays. And once you use the Likert scale or the Likert scale, as you may want to pronounce it, you list certain traits that you think people must possess if they want to achieve certain results. And it tells you that you know the best way to do a particular thing, and you want the person to either agree or disagree with you. And that becomes a problem. In this day and age where we say that people must be autonomous, must give autonomy, and then there must be flexibility at the job place. I am performing the job, so how I'm able to do the job, all that you require, that I have done the job. And then you ensure I have not gone outside the framework that you have given to me. And so telling me I must possess a certain behavior or a certain attribute before I can perform that particular job will not help. It creates a lot of problems. And so we have, as I said, the second point is, and then because several methods can be used to achieve results, not necessarily what you have listed for me to do. And so the best way may be known only to the employee, or the ultimate behavior may frequently change. The method is the contingency method. Because of the behavior, we are saying that because based on Mary Pacafoli's advice, that knowledge should be used to determine the process of a job. Let me determine. Give me the job. You have employed me. Give me the training. Give me the resources. And then let me use what behaviors are available to me to perform the job. Don't restrict me to certain behavior types, because it creates a lot of problems. You see, if I don't have that behavior, I'm unable to perform the job. And that is a bit fallacious. Then we have measurement of results. Here it is based on the assumption that the employee knows the best way to do the job. In a way, it is countering the measurement by behavior. Over here, what happens is that employee will be given a set objective, a performance standard. And so you are not going to measure my behavior, but you are going to measure my performance and the results that are that come out of the performance. That is what it says. In this case, results of performance are measured, not my behavior, not my attributes, or what I possess. All you want is that you have given me the job. Do it and let me see. All I want is the result and nothing. I don't need your behavior. I don't need your attributes. I need the outcome. How you do it, I don't care. And so that's why it says a popular way to measure performance is by MB, which is called management by objective. It says it's a process in which top managers define strategic goals for the year and managers and employees set objectives to reach those goals. We are speaking about strategic objectives, tactical, and then operational. And so when it comes to that level, management and employees, let's say supervisors and employees will sit down and also determine how they are going to work to achieve the goals assigned to them. It's an agreement. Remember we said it's a shared responsibility. It's an agreement based on contract, not by command. And so we sit down here and determine the goals given to us, and we see how best what the goals are. And so that's why we have this SMART acronym. So we set objectives which are specific, which are measurable, which are achievable, which are realistic, and then which are time bound. And so once you set these things to the employees, they come to work. Then it is left to them to decide how they are going to achieve that objective. Management has no hand. They don't tell you the behavior that you're supposed to use. And so in a way, as we have said, it's a bit of trying to tell managers that it is or confirming what Mary Parker Foley has said, that it is knowledge, not authority, that must be used to perform the task. And in a way, this thing is in the university as well. Even though I have been given the course, then the university tells me, you have done the course, go and teach. All we want is that the people must appreciate what you do for them. But then the combination between the management by objectives and the management by of results becomes, that is where once you combine the two, it enables the organization, it enables the employee to work together to achieve results. Bring the behavior aspect from me, bring your behavior, and we put it together, we merge them, and then we are able to achieve results. So in most cases, it is not one method that is used. You can have the measurement of results, attributes, and behavior, and we use them on the assessment form. You see all these things there, and then the person is properly or holistically assessed, and we know how the person did it, and then we recommend either promotion or dismissal or retention. Then we have the total quality approach. These people think that the other methods are not too good. And they have identified two methods that they think will be useful in assessing organizations or doing performance management. So that's what I said. Believers of the approach identify shortcomings in the other methods to performance management. And they advocate efforts of TQM focus on providing feedback in areas where employees can improve. And so, yes, they want to focus on your behavior, but the main focus was on feedback. What can we do to help the employees, help us to achieve our objective? And they do this in two ways, the subjective and the objective. The subjective says it is based on the assessment from managers, peers, about an employee's cooperating attitudes, initiative, and communication. That was, I'm working with colleagues. My colleagues can assess me. Managers can assess me based on what they see me. We interact every day. And once we interact, they are able to determine how I work, my contribution to their work, and it's because we realize that the work is interlinked. There's interrelation between the work that I perform. If I don't come to work or I don't work according to schedule, it can affect other people's work. And therefore, these things, once they observe me, managers observe me, they can have an opinion, and based on that, they can write their reports on me. And so, once they are writing the report on me, they focus on what I have. My general behavior. And perhaps those things that I possess and not using one particular trait or one particular method like the measurement of attributes or results to determine my overall performance. No. So for this one, it tells us you address specific qualities. What does the person possess? It is not only by the results, not only by behavior, not only by attributes, but from attribute side, from behavior, and then from results. You are able to assess me and give me what I want. Then we have the objective. And over here, we have often said that people oftentimes think that it is the employee who is always at fault. But the system can be at fault as well. I want to teach, but I don't have the means to teach. I come to the classroom, there is no light. I come to the classroom, there are no chairs, there is no board for me to use. Or I go to the workplace, I don't even have a seat. I don't have the resources to work with. So how do you expect me to perform? That is why I said it is based on the work processes and gathered with statistical quality control methods. And so what we need to look at how the system works rather than what the individual himself possesses. So it says these categories of feedback emphasize how well a system works rather than the individual. So if the resources are okay, the resources are good. For example, using this mechanism to come to you in your homes. If I don't have these facilities, if I have them, I'm able to communicate to you. But if I don't have them, how do I do it? And so if the university didn't have this mechanism, and the university says you should go online to teach, how do you do it? There is no network for us. So in that case, we don't focus on what the person possesses, but then what the organization itself is giving to the people to work with. That's why I said it assumes that performance problems often arise from system problems. So it tells you that a person is not able to perform because of weaknesses in the system. But you see, unlike the first three, the comparative method, the attributes, the behavior, and the results, they never mention the system. All the things are on the individual. Perhaps they assume that all things being equal, the system has provided all the resources necessary to achieve performance, and therefore must perform. But you realize that in the course of the performance, certain problems might crop up. And therefore, we need also to assess the system and see how adequate the system is before perhaps we come to the people. That is why, so looking at the objective side and objective side, it is comprehensive. They assess their performance and then they assess the system. So if the two are good, then you can say that you have adequately or efficiently assessed the person's performance. But assuming I have the resources to, assuming I have the ability to perform, I have all the qualities to perform, and the system is not functioning properly, I cannot achieve. On the other hand, if the system is very good, and I don't have the necessary behavior, and the necessary attributes to perform, I can't perform. That is why the TQM is saying that we need to look at the two, and then once we assess the two, we'll be able to have adequate knowledge or information about the performance level of the person. And then, if you want to make a decision, you can make a proper decision. We don't have to only have to blame the person all the time, or we don't have to blame the system all the time. The two must be looked at the same time, and we make sure that the system works perfectly, and the person also has those skills which are necessary to achieve results. Now, what are the sources of information of performance management? The traditional sources: the supervisor of the employee, especially the measurement of attributes, the measurement of behavior, the comparative method. By objectives, the supervisor is key when it comes to all these things. Then it says, however, useful performance information can also come from peers, subordinates, customers, and the employee himself. Where we have the total quality, it talks about peers assessing you, your boss assessing you, your colleagues assessing you, customers assessing you, and all these things help. Because when all these things bring the information, it reduces the level of subjectivity in the assessment. So we have supervisors, we have peers, subordinates, customers, and then employees themselves. Then we have another one, what we call the 360-degree feedback. And so how do we give feedback? It says the employee, we must be given that the employee must give the 360-degree feedback or a combination of downward, lateral, or upward self-appraisal. In other words, my subordinates, my colleagues, my boss appraising me, assessing me. That is what the 360-degree. No one single person must assess me. It must come from different sources. And so customers also come in, which means that we are talking about the previous slide that we discussed. We mentioned all these things. So this is a repetition of what we have already done. So that's it. We emphasize on skills, competencies, and behavior, like the measurement of attributes, the measurement of behavior, and then the measurement of by results, and then and then these two, and then even an aspect of the total quality management. According to Tano, or whatever name that you have, you want to pronounce it, the 360 feedback creates the awareness of any discrepancy between how we see ourselves and how others see us. Now, so how I see myself and how you see me. Once you use the 360 degrees, when I sit behind my desk, I know how I see myself. And then those who come to me also have a way of seeing me. And so once we are able to put them together, it's like developing a self-concept. I have a way of seeing myself. My bosses see me a different way. My customers, my colleagues, my subordinates. And then when I integrate all of them, I'll be able to determine who I am. And if there's a discrepancy between how I see myself and how others see me, I will be able to, or management can help me to overcome that or bring that gap. And therefore, I become, or you become, a total person. So that enhanced self-awareness is key to management performance. And so once you do the assessment, you put them together, how others see you and how you see yourself. Once you know this, the outcome comes out, you are able to determine that, yes, I am this, I am that. If you fall short of certain things, you are able to help yourself overcome that difficulty, and then you move on. Now, what's the performance feedback process? So, for performance information to be useful, it must be shared with the affected employee. You have assessed me. Management have done it. My peers have done it. They have submitted everything to you. Or you teachers, you students have done it on me. Let the employee see how he was assessed. The results, let me see it. Because the feedback enables me to identify my mistakes, my strengths, and then correct certain standards or substandards behavior that I may possess. Because I may not know whether I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing. But once the feedback is given to me, I know where my strengths are, where my weaknesses are, and therefore I can work to improve on them. So identify areas of exceptional performance can help employees and managers identify tasks where an employee can contribute the most. We have spoken about succession planning. Or even job rotation. If we see that an employee is very good in a certain area, then that person can be moved in that area, to that area, so that we can have maximum performance or optimal performance from the person. And then if the person has weakness in a certain area, that person cannot go there. Or we help that person to overcome the weakness so that he will become effective in that area as well. And so when we do performance management, it helps to make a lot of decisions. That is why we mention administrative decision, or we even mention developmental decision, or then the strategic decision. So it enables you to make effective decisions. Once you base your decision on the outcome of a performance management process, that person is not likely to contest the decision that comes out, because he is aware of what the process has been, and then he has seen how objective the process was, and therefore he will not question it. But sometimes as managers dislike giving information from people because it is not pleasant to tell a person this area, that area, you didn't do well. Especially if you know the person. It becomes a problem. And then again, so it says to remove the fear of bad news, management must focus on putting feedback in concrete, specific terms so that employees can use it to improve. In other words, you must give a feedback in those areas. Don't generalize it. Those areas that the weaknesses are found. And in most cases, the best way to give feedback is to allow the employees himself to talk. You have the records before you. You also have the record. Let a person talk first, then you come in. How the person will solve the problem instead of you giving the person solutions to the problem. Once this is done, it becomes easier for you to tell the person where his or her weaknesses are. And then the two will become friends. This means that focus on behavior results on the attributes of the employee. And so, what a person possesses, the behavior that a person put up in the classroom, at the workplace, we have talked about the management of, behavior, measurement of behavior. And so those things, the person's ability to deliver, the person's, what the person does actually on the job is what you need to focus on. But if you tell me that you can't talk, I don't like the way you talk, and so what? That will not help. The person will become offended. But talking does not, or it's not part of what I'm supposed to do. If I'm not able to talk, but I'm able to deliver? What's the problem? That's why I said focus on behavior, not necessarily on attributes. Even though the attributes are good as well. If it should be regular, so that the person, if the person is making consistent mistakes, the person can also correct those mistakes. So it can eliminate situations where employees are constantly rated poor. If it is regular, as I said earlier, once it comes and the person is corrected, that person can easily overcome that problem. And then employee motivation will be greater if feedback routinely include praise for performance, and not only identifying problems. That means that once the employee has done something good, as a manager, be willing to say, just as you are ready to reprimand the person if he has a problem. Where there are praise, or what the need for you to praise, there is good performance. If you remember, when we're talking about the character, says it is we are able to recognize superior performance. You recognize superior performance, and then the person becomes happy. The person wants to do more. Then how do you enhance feedback process? Says give feedback regularly and not just once in a year. That one becomes, people see that it can be used as a means to victimize people. Let employee rate himself before each performance feedback, and then you also come in. The employee, encourage employee to participate in each performance feedback session. Recognize effective performance through praise. These are things that have been done already, and therefore I think that you can easily understand them. So focus on feedback about behavior and result, not about the person's worth. Don't tell the person you are useless. I don't even understand why I employed you. No. Let the person know those behaviors that were not good. But if you tell the person that you are useless, no, it doesn't help. Minimize criticism. Agree on to specific goals, and then set a date to review. That's when the person comes back. There were problems, and you try to correct the person. When the person goes back, let the person come back, and then you see how the person took the solutions that you gave to him. And that way, it helps the person to build enough skills to overcome those challenges that confronted him. Now, one organization said, now when we do performance management, there are 4 key areas that we want to look at: measurement, feedback, reinforcement, and then critiquing management. What is measure? So you are able to measure performance standards, and then you measure based on the measurement by behavior, which we say that is better than the measurement of attributes. So that once you measure them, once you want to assess whether the person is doing the right thing or the wrong thing, because we said earlier that at the beginning of every financial year, we set objectives for ourselves, we set targets for ourselves, and so we need to manage the performance consistently in such a way that the person will be on the right track. So then you provide feedback with this. People are able to monitor their performance. Once you give the feedback, the person knows that he is doing well or he's not doing well. And then the reinforcement, that means that reinforcement here to give praise to the person when the person has done something good. But you can also have negative reinforcement, where a person that you praise the person, but then next time the person did something wrong, instead of punishing, you withdraw something from the person. So that the person also knows that he needs to do better the next time. And so it lets people also know that every behavior has a consequence. In other words, for whatever behavior you put up, it is either going to be rewarded or going to be punished. And so when the consequences are desirable, all well and good for you, and then so we give you credit for your good performance, but then on the other side, we punish you for that. So that's why I say when people believe that desirable consequences are critiqued upon good performance, they are more likely to improve. In other words, when you have done well and people give you praise or they provide constructive criticisms, you are willing to improve upon your behavior or your performance and move up. And so we also empower people through performance management. It enables people to manage their performance and develop within the framework a clear objectives and standards. We have said earlier that once under the concerns or characteristics says we are able to self-manage our performance anytime we do performance management, because the person knows the objectives, the person knows how to get there, the person knows where he's going. Once we do this and do it properly, we will give the person that kind of power to do what he is supposed to do and at what time. Thank you for being with me. The next topic we'll look at is compensation.